Hi, I'm Andy and this is my new project Mark-1 MX5. Super excited to be able to finally get around to making this video about it. It's been a while. In fact, I did attempt to make this video a couple of weeks back and then had a bit of an issue where my tripod fell over and smashed my phone screen completely all over the tarmac, which was not great. But yeah, this is my new Mazda and I'll give you a little rundown of a little bit of history about the car and why I've got it. So this is a Mark-1 NA MX5. It is a Japanese import, imported in, I believe, 2007 from the documents that came with the car. 1.8 manual hardtop with a limited slip diff in the back, although from other MX5 owners that I've spoken to, it's apparently a Fuji diff, which is not a very good one and will probably shatter on me if I give it too much out of junction. But either way, it's a rear-wheel drive manual lightweight sports car, barely scraping a ton. The suspension's a bit shot, the bodywork's a bit tatty, but the important thing, the underneath, the chassis of the car is actually in really good condition. But it's a 30-year-old car, you know, it's been ragged and abused. It's on about 160,000 kilometers, whatever that is in miles. But yeah, should be a good, fun little project to get our teeth sunk into. Now, why the Mark-1? Well, apart from the fact that it is one of the greatest cars ever made, it's just always appealed to me. I mean, it's a proper, true driver's car. No fancy electronics, no stupid extras on the car. It is four wheels and an engine in the most fun combination possible. Engine in the front, rear wheel drive, manual gearbox. What's not to like? So as I said in the intro, this car is very much a project for me. It needs a lot of work doing. And your first question is probably, well, what needs doing to it? So let me run you through a few things. Sitting on some very cheap, very nasty coilovers set up awfully. So every time you sort of come to a set of traffic lights, the whole car sort of just bounces around. And it does feel like you're sort of driving on jelly, to be honest, is the way I'd like to describe it. If we take a look here at the steering wheel, it's not particularly straight. This is actually its straight line driving position. And if you do let go, well, it does wallow a bit across the road. Now, voiceover Andy here. Apparently, this part of the video didn't record my audio, which is very helpful. But basically, what I'm trying to show you here is that the engine, while it is very smooth and runs very nicely, there is a bit of a leak coming from the rocker cover gasket, bit of corrosion around, and the most annoying thing, which is that air intake, which does absolutely nothing for the power, and I do want to return that to an original system at some point. Also, you'll see me in a minute point down towards the bottom of the engine. Basically, what I'm pointing at is the auxiliary belts, the alternator and the power steering pump belt. They're both starting to fray and very, very, very squeaky, especially on engine startup first thing in the morning, which my neighbours probably love me for. Now moving on to the bodywork, as you can see, someone's made a very big hash of trying to roll out that front arch at some point. And also, yeah, just rubbers have worn, parts have started to rust away. You know, as I said, it's a 30-year-old car, and to be honest, the worst bit of bodywork has to be here on the boot lid. All the paint's just completely been scratched off, and the clear coat's all faded away. And as well as this part around the back where the number plate surround is, that's all faded as well. But by far the worst part of the car, and definitely the most disgusting part of the car, has to be inside the boot, as you're about to see here. It's very manky. Luckily, the rust seems to be just surface related, but at some point, I think when it was sat in storage, a battery has leaked or gone pop, and I definitely need to get that all cleared out at some point and just give it all a good tidy up, and also get all that mold off the boot lid as well, because that's just absolutely disgusting. But it's not all doom and gloom, especially inside. I mean, despite the fact that the interior is shot and this is a 30-year-old car, we've got heating, we've got aircon that doesn't work, we've got an Apple CarPlay stereo type thing, completely aftermarket of course, and we've even got electric power windows. Okay, scrap the power windows part. But anyway, should we get to the meat of this video and go for a drive, see how it is on the open road, the best part about an MX5? speed bump, speed bump. Ugh. This car does not like speed bumps in the slightest. Ugh. So the first thing that you're going to notice is it does make quite a bit of noise. Unfortunately, as much as I wish it was, it's not engine noise. Everything shakes, everything rattles, the suspension and the engine and the wheels, everything drones. It's also not particularly very comfortable. With the suspension being as soft and as low as it is, you do go over every bump that is slightly bigger than a pebble, wondering, is my spine going to be ejected out of the back of my neck and then back through the top of my skull? It's also quite warm in here, to be completely honest, with the window shut to stop the wind noise from coming in. The lack of air conditioning, and to be honest, the fans don't really do much either, and the adjusters are all completely broken, so they just point downwards. It does mean it is quite a sweat box in here. But the MX-5 isn't about being comfortable or the most economical or the quietest car for driving across to the south of France in. What this thing was designed for and what it does so well is pure driving thrill. That's all this car was ever designed for. How can you get from A to B with the biggest grin on your face at the end of it? And until you drive a car like this, you don't fully understand it. Because every time you get in this car and go for a drive, it puts the absolute biggest grin on your face. And especially when you come up to a national speed limit dual carriageway off of a roundabout, and you get to do that. That horrendous intake that I was complaining about earlier, it makes the car slower, I know, but the intake noise that you get from it is absolutely brilliant. That old school engine, no turbochargers, no electronic mufflers attached to it, just pure, proper engine noise, intake noise, exhaust noise, everything. Oh. That never gets old. That never gets old. I know it's not particularly quick. We did all of that and we didn't even get anywhere close. I think I got to about 65. But like I said, that's not what this car is about. This car is about just the smile, and you can see the smile on my face despite the fact I am baking in here and being flung about on every single bump and crevice in the road. But anyway, I'm going to turn off of the dual carriageway in a bit, go and find some twisty roads, what this car was properly designed for. Well, we found some twisties. Found one of the best driving roads in my local area. This car was designed for these roads in mind, twisties, and just, oh, some of these bends, you just throw it in the car. I mean, you're barely doing any speed at all because it's an MX-5. You can just heel toe it down the gears, get it turned in, keep it within the white lines. A little bit of understeer from the terrible front tyres that we've got. When people tell you that Mark-1 MX-5s drive like a go-kart, they are not wrong. They do literally drive like a go-kart. You just turn the steering wheel and it's an immediate dart, one way or the other. The front just bites, and this is, bearing in mind, this is on some terrible suspension. I mean, soft, low, wallowy. Probably the bushings are all shot underneath as well. And yet it's still just, it goes back to what I said earlier. It's just that fun factor. Every time you go for a drive in this car, it just puts a smile on your face. Oh. Oh. That suspension's so awful. You just get flung about over any sort of bump if you're doing more than 20 miles an hour. So what's the goal of this car? Well, to be honest, where I want it to end up is that it will be a track car. road legal, maybe not road comfortable, but road legal. Nice and low, not too low, with some slightly bigger wheels, some really good suspension setup. Probably engine-wise, I'm not going to bother with turbocharging or any sort of forced induction. I would love ITB kits on it. Would be the ideal way of just getting some more power out of it. Because if I can get, you know, 30, 40 more horsepower out of it with some trick camshafts, uprated fuel rails, individual throttle bodies, just that noise and the theatre that comes along with ITBs is what I really want that. Exterior wise, I mean, I'd love to have a full livery. My normal content on this channel is sim racing. I'd love to have a full livery in the team that I race in iRacing with the purple and the blue. But yeah, I'm not really sure, to be honest. I think it's just, I have the end goal in mind. What the steps are going to be taken to get there, I don't know. I think the first thing that I am going to be doing is getting this god-awful suspension off the car because it's just so wallowy. I want to get some proper, really high-quality coilovers, nothing too expensive, just something decent, and get them properly tuned and set up with the cambers, the casters, the corner weights, and that will absolutely transform how this car feels. But yeah, suspension, wheels, brakes, another thing, probably get some nice decent brakes on the car, and then we'll go from there. Probably even just take it on a track day as it is, with the engine as it is, no extra power. Now, maintenance wise, there are some things I do need to do before we start pushing this thing on track. The timing belt, I don't know if it's ever been changed, so that's another thing that's on my list. I'm having a bit of trouble, I think, with the thermostat, where the car is not getting up to full operating temperature on the gauge. I don't think it's overheating or anything, otherwise it would be a big cloud of smoke by now. So I think it needs a new thermostat, and to be honest, it just needs a good once over. I sort of glossed over it in the intro, but I bought this car off a whim, off a Facebook Marketplace, and it had been sat in storage from 2014 all the way up to 2024. And then some guy found it from the guy's barn that it was sat in, put it back on the road and put 8,000 miles on it in a year after just a basic service. He then sold it on to the person who then had it on his driveway, no MOT, and then I came along and decided that I was going to be financially irresponsible and pick this car up with no MOT, having never driven it before, and have it trailered down to myself. I then went and took it to my local mechanic and I went, look, it needs an MOT, give it a once over, get it all sorted, whatever's needing to be done to it. He then phones me about 2 hours later and goes, oh, by the way, your suspension's hanging off, your radiator's hanging off, there's a hole in the floor well, and one of your rear brake calipers are completely shot. Really helpful, that one. That was a lovely phone call to receive, but he managed to get all that sorted, and while the car is not perfect, it's in a state where it's drivable, and I've absolutely enjoyed every second of being able to drive this car. It just puts a smile on your face, and I know I keep going on about the fun factor and oh, it puts a smile on your face, but it does. That is what this car is designed to do. And it's got pop-up headlights, and it's rear-wheel drive, and if you wanted to, this hard top comes off. Annoyingly, I don't have a soft top to go with it, so I'm stuck with the hard top, which takes two people to take off the car. But I have driven it on a lovely, glorious summer's evening with the roof off, and you fall in love with this car twice. You fall in love with it the first time you drive it, and then you fall in love with it again the first time you drive it with the roof off. Would I use this thing as a daily driver? Absolutely not. Far too uncomfortable, far too unsafe, to be completely honest, as boring of an answer as that is. But for something to have fun with, and for something when you wake up and the sun is shining and the roads are dry and you just want to have the best drive to work that you've had in your life, I cannot think of a better car than this, and I can't wait to get stuck into the modifications, the repairs, everything that comes along with the ownership of this car. One last blast around these bends. This thing is just fantastic in every single way. Air, cold air, finally.